Alright, I just want to point this out because it bothered me that I went so long into the video without noticing. But throughout half the video, there is a black thing in the left side of the frame. That is my light. I do fix it eventually. Just bear with me. Hello! It's been a while since I did a YouTube video, but we're back. I didn't know exactly what to do for my return because it's been a few months.
What are you, fucking stupid?
So I said, screw it. These are my top 5 favorite albums of 2021. 2021 was a weird year for me. I personally had a great year in 2021, and the whole world had a terrible one. They had the sequel to 2020. But don't let that fool you. The worse the year is, the better the music. I mean, look at the 70s and stuff like that when the Vietnam War was going on. You had What's Going On coming out. I mean, any year where there's a bad time, where bad things are happening to people, the music just gets better. I'm going to give each of these albums a rating after I'm done talking about them. This will reflect sort of a combination of my enjoyment of the album along with how good I think the album actually is. My favorite album won't necessarily be the best album of the year. It'll be the album I remember most fondly. And again, this is my list of my favorite albums. If your favorite album doesn't appear on this list, it's either because I didn't like it as much as you did, I don't think it's as good as you probably think it is, or maybe I flat out just didn't listen to it. Number 5.
Spiraling up, just like a rich nigga staircase.
Yeah, this album's pretty good. I don't think J. Cole has released an album as good as Forest Hills Drive since Forest Hills Drive came out, which is kind of a weird statement because I'm also going to say that Off Season is not as good as Forest Hills Drive, but it's the best one since. I liked KOD. I thought that For Your Eyes Only initially was weak, and then you know, retrospectively listen to it. It's not that bad. I felt like Revenge of the Dreamers was okay. I felt like JID really carried that album a lot of the time. And then you look at this album right here. And then you look at the Off Season. And it's a weird case where you see a lot of J. Cole has been doing for the past years, but he's just combining them well. A lot of J. Cole's best stuff in the last few years has been on features. So he decided, what if I just made an album and it's just what I've been doing in features put into my own album? I worded that poorly. What I'm trying to describe is the fact that J. Cole has been doing great stuff separate from his solo career on other people's music, and he's not been putting that into his own music until with the Off Season. To some, that might seem like a cop-out, you know, just doing the things you do on other people's songs across like 9 to 12 songs, but it works pretty well. Songs like Pride is the Devil and My Life are standouts. They're already some of J. Cole's biggest hits. Overall, I've listened to the album a lot, and I think I've listened to it through and through a lot more than I've done with even KOD and For Your Eyes Only. If I were to give this album a rating, it would be like a 7. A very strong 7, but a 7 nonetheless. It isn't an 8, it isn't a 9, but a 7's fair. I really like the album. I felt like it was his best work since Forest Hills Drive. It just wasn't, you know, the step above that Forest Hills Drive was.
Oh, this freestyle, it's us. Stewie Griffin, Tip Creamy, Chuckle Nuts.
Controversial. I think Donda is good. Do I think it's fantastic? No. Do I think it's his best work since Life of Pablo? Easily. I feel like Donda is his most ambitious album since Dark Twisted Fantasy, believe it or not. I feel like the one downside with Donda that's really big, other than the censorship, is the fact that it's just so long, and I feel like you could have cut down the album to 16 songs, and it would have still been concise, really quality. I don't think it would have been better, but it would have been more consistent. But is it bad? Absolutely not. I feel like a lot of the features were really good. The release of Hurricane, which is a leaked song from before, it just makes me happy because I've known about Hurricane / 80 Degrees / whatever for a long time. And I feel like this is what Jesus is King could have been. Really good gospel hip-hop influenced album. Not that that's mind-blowing. I mean, Chance did it like 6 years ago, and everyone loves that album / mixtape. But I don't really have a whole lot to say about Donda other than it's good. It's a 7 out of 10. It's his best work since Life of Pablo, and I hope this is like the step in the right direction where he just makes really good music like this. What can I say about this one? Tyler just consistently has been releasing really good. You know, when Flower Boy came out, he was taking a lot of risks. He was changing his genres, his sound. A lot of his identity changed with Flower Boy, and it's worked out beautifully. Igor was fantastic. And this album, I mean, I don't really know how much to stress how good this album is. If you wanted Tyler to rap again, here he is. And he's fantastic, too. He mixes a lot of what makes him special in Flower Boy with a lot of what made him special before. His rapping ability is so good. He's such a good technical rapper, and a lot of the features on this album are surprisingly really good. Even 42 Dugg on this album, I gotta mention him. He was fire on Lemonhead. Juggernaut's fire. The entire album's fire. If I were to say, this song's fire, I'd be here for days. Just listen to it, it's fire. It's a Tyler, the Creator album. I give this an 8. LP is nothing short of being within best album of the year conversations. LP is JPEG Mafia's best album, and that's saying something because Veteran and All My Heroes Are Cornballs were both very strong. It's hard to describe a JPEG Mafia project, but I feel like a lot of people would like JPEG Mafia without knowing it. So imagine you have crazy production. Like, I'm not just saying crazy as in like, but actual really good production and use of samples mixed in with straight bars. Like, JPEG Mafia technically is such a good rapper, and this sort of persona of being like a real version of the hip-hop punk star. You know, I feel like a lot of people compared, you know, Lil Uzi Vert and all the like the SoundCloud era rappers. I hate to say that, but they were popularized off the internet. A lot of those people, they'd call the punk rockers of hip-hop. Peggy perfectly embodies being a punk-influenced artist without much of that influence being anywhere near what his music sounds like. There's 2 versions of this album. I gotta recommend the offline version. There are so many songs on this version of the album that aren't on the SoundCloud and Apple Music versions that just blew my mind with the production value. There's some other tweaks and changes made to other songs that do appear on every version of the album due to sample clearance and all of that and general record label fuckery. The album has been one of my most replayed pieces of music all year, counting even albums made before 2021. If you haven't listened to JPEG Mafia, listen to his other stuff, then listen to this, and just enjoy the madness and the art of JPEG Mafia's music. Honorable mention, not for the number 1 spot, but for this list.
Okay, just say you're not ready. Okay, coming in.
This album isn't great, but it's an album I've listened to a lot. Like, I've re-listened to it several times, and while I stopped after a 2-week period, I think that accounts for something. Obviously, the best songs in the album are the ones with Kendrick, that being Range Brothers and Family Ties. However, the other songs, there's some good songs on this album, and I would recommend it to anyone who likes a lot of modern hip-hop, and to anyone who needs to satiate their hunger for Kendrick Lamar's music. He makes some goofy appearances on this album, and kind of a really strong one on Family Ties. Anyways, that was left out of the list because I give that album like a light 6. It's not the greatest, but it has 2 really good songs from last year, and I listen to it a lot. I think that accounts for something. This fucking album. I'd be kidding myself if I said I wasn't biased towards either Bruno Mars or Anderson .Paak. Mars has been one of my favorite pop artists for a while, if you even want to call him pop. And Anderson .Paak, I've been a big fan of Anderson .Paak for 6 years now, ever since Malibu came out. I've just been listening to everything he's released. I love everything this dude drops.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
Call me fanboy all you want. I mark it up to the fact that his genre of music fits my taste exactly. He's like R&B, hip hop, and soul and funk. It's weird. He mixes all these genres. You've got hip hop. You've got like Smokey Robinson and Isley Brothers and Teddy Pendergrass all mixed together to make this sound that sort of reminds you of older music while also being very new. Sound familiar? Sound like something a specific pop artist started doing in the mid to late 2010s? That artist being named Bruno Mars, with songs like Treasure and 24K Magic, replicating the sounds of the former decades. I feel like it was a match made in heaven, and when I heard that they were going to make an album together, it blew my fucking mind. The first song they dropped was literally the perfect amalgamation of what these two artists could make together. Leave the Door Open does not need an album. This could be their only hit. This could be their Easy Lover, where they just make one song together and it's just a timeless banger. But they gave us an album, and it's very good. It's not like 10 out of 10 best album ever, but it's my favorite album of the year, and it's still damn good. The quality overall is just fantastic. Both artists are prevalent in this album. I don't care what anyone says. Bruno kills it, and Pac kills it. And I've got to mention After Last Night. After Last Night is it should have been one of the singles, but I'm glad it wasn't. Experiencing that song on the album while knowing full well that everything I listen to is going to be good and still being blown away, it blew my fucking mind. It's a song that has Bootsy Collins on the intro, just like almost every other song, but it has Thundercat on the song. The production is a 10 out of 10. The vocals are an 11. I don't know how else to describe it other than it's fire. It's fantastic, and it's worth listening to the entire rest of the album just to get to that song and to listen to everything under it. Skate's cool. I really like Smoking Out the Window. That's a song after Last Night, and it's a perfect segue. This album's just very good. Again, they mix these two eras of music together flawlessly. I think they both are very strong on it together, and not separate. And I think my biggest takeaway with this album, I wouldn't say is for everyone, but I feel like for music fans, you're gonna love this. There's everything for you here. You've got old R&B sounds with funk, jazz. You've got some rapping. You've got fantastic singing from Bruno and from Pac. They both kill every song they're on. And I think this is an easy 9 out of 10. I think that it's not as good as LP in terms of pure quality and experimentalness or whatever you want to base them on, but just on the production and the hype and how it lived up, I think that this album is up there with the best albums of the year, and it's my personal favorite. I've enjoyed last year musically. I hope you guys did too. I hope you guys had a great 2021, or at least are having a better 2022. If you liked this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't, you know what to do, even though they don't show that shit no more.